headlines of this hour on VTV News. National Assembly Chairman underlines cautiousness, objectivity in Constitution amendments. And Vietnamese doctors save comatose mom and unborn baby in a medical miracle. In our world news, US and Ukraine negotiations yield positive results.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyền Trân with the top stories. It is necessary to be cautious, objective and democratic when amending the Constitution. This was National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn request at the meeting of the National Assembly Party Standing Committee on Monday morning. Now, according to regulations, the collection of public opinions on amending and supplementing the Constitution will take place within 1 month. And the synthesis of opinions is expected to be carried out within 5 days and will be deployed in May and June. 58 party documents, 12 articles of the Constitution, and hundreds of related legal documents will be reviewed to improve institutions and streamline the apparatus. The National Assembly Chairman confirmed that the draft project and report have been thoroughly prepared, with 16 agencies and organizations already expressing their approval. To achieve this year's target growth rate of 8%, the government has allocated public investment capital of about $34 billion, an increase of $30 billion from last year. A significant portion of these funds will support key infrastructure projects, and this investment aims to both eliminate transportation infrastructure bottlenecks and stimulate growth across multiple industries and sectors.
Hundreds of machines and workers have been mobilized to the construction site of the North-South Expressway expansion project's Cao Bo Mai Son section. With materials in place, the contractor aims to finish the project ahead of schedule.
We have organized 11 construction teams and are striving to complete the project 6 months ahead of schedule.
Public investment is being directed not only toward growth drivers, but also toward disadvantaged regions, creating momentum for growth across the country.
Investors are preparing to invest in our province. Once the infrastructure projects are completed, manufacturing and tourism will be developed along the expressway.
According to experts, if the allocated public investment capital is fully dispersed as planned, Vietnam's annual growth rate could gain an additional 1%. This year, the Prime Minister has set an ambitious goal of completing at least 3,000 kilometers of expressways and 1,000 kilometers of coastal roads across the country. These key connecting routes will create new growth drivers that align with Vietnam's 8% growth target for 2025.
Ho Chi Minh City climbed up 7 places to rank 98th out of 119 cities in the 37th edition of the Global Financial Centers Index, GFCI 37. And this marks its highest position since first being included in the rankings in 2022. The city increased by 25 points compared to the previous ranking, reaching a total of 654 points. And by the end of 2024, the Politburo officially approved the establishment of an International Financial Center, IFC, in Ho Chi Minh City, alongside a regional financial center in Da Nang. The IFC is envisioned as a cornerstone for the city's future economic growth, aiming to attract international investors, boost foreign direct investment FDI inflows, and solidify its position as Vietnam's economic hub. Now, by the end of this year, Ninh Thuận province will hand over the site for Vietnam's first nuclear power plant. The process presents significant challenges as it requires relocating more than 600 households from the project's core area. Provincial authorities are fast-tracking resettlement plans to ensure the best outcomes for affected residents.
Located at the heart of the Ninh Thuận 1 nuclear power plant project is Vĩnh Trường Hamlet in Phước Dinh Commune, Thuận Nam District, Ninh Thuận Province. Hamlet Chief Nguyễn Văn Thắng has visited households to listen to residents' concerns while informing them about the need to complete relocation and land clearance within the year.
Through awareness campaigns, residents have expressed their willingness to move and look forward to improved living conditions.
The Ninh Thuận 1 and Ninh Thuận 2 nuclear power plants are located in Phước Dinh Commune, Thuận Nam District, and Vĩnh Hải Commune, Ninh Hải District. More than 600 households reside within the core project area.
The commune authorities have informed residents about the project, and so far, public consensus has been very high.
Under the National Assembly's resolution on special investment policies for the Ninh Thuận nuclear power project, compensation and resettlement support for affected residents will be provided at 1.55 times the highest legally regulated rate.
This policy framework ensures stability in livelihood, production, and long-term economic prospects for residents relocating to new areas.
Ninh Thuận authorities are conducting surveys and gathering data to support compensation and site clearance, while strengthening public outreach to help residents understand their rights and benefits. The provincial government will soon implement special policies for compensation, support, and resettlement related to the nuclear power project and its sub-projects. Their aim is to complete the land clearance and site handover by year's end.
Since the end of 2024, numerous countries have revised their regulations and standards for agricultural imports, affecting Vietnamese products significantly. China, Vietnam's primary durian market, now requires inspection of all durian shipments for cadmium and yellow oak content. Taiwan, China has also extended its Vietnamese durian inspection period through April 30th, 2025. And from December 18, 2024, Europe increased inspection frequency for Vietnamese exports of durian, dragon fruit, chili, and okra. Meanwhile, enterprises exporting to the U.S. must apply the hazard analysis and critical control point system and be audited and confirmed by the importer. Exporting enterprises must also register and update their information with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration every 2 years. South Korea, Japan, and the United Kingdom have also announced changes in regulations on commodity standards. Vietnamese coffee export prices have hit consecutive record highs since the start of the year, driving export turnover above $2.2 billion in just 2.5 months. According to the Vietnam Coffee and Cocoa Association, Arabica coffee prices reached a record high of over $6,800 per ton, while Robusta prices climbed to nearly $5,400 per ton. And despite decreased output, the overall value rose by more than 30%. The soaring prices stem from reduced supply, cautious sales, and increasing scarcity of coffee stocks. And in response, Vietnam is developing high-quality growing regions in the Central Highlands, targeting an annual revenue of $20 billion. Total retail sales of goods and consumer services reached $246.1 billion, a nearly 9% increase from the previous year. And to achieve this year's 12% growth target, the government is focusing on two key strategies: boosting the domestic market through the Vietnamese People Prioritize Vietnamese Goods campaign and expanding local products' presence in traditional retail channels. And this initiative has been prioritized across all sectors and regions to stimulate domestic consumption, maintain production levels, and drive economic growth.
All fresh fruits, vegetables, and essential consumer goods displayed at this supermarket are locally produced. Surveys show that consumers have strong confidence in both the quality and design of Vietnamese products.
Vietnamese products now match imported goods in quality. Their designs are attractive, and I trust their origin, which ensures food safety and hygiene.
Imported goods may not be as fresh as Vietnamese products due to longer transportation times, which can reduce vitamin content in fruits and vegetables. That's why I prioritize fresh Vietnamese goods. which are delivered daily.
This year, the total retail sales and consumer services revenue target has been set at over $273.8 billion US. With growing consumer confidence, the domestic market is expected to provide strong support for local products.
For Vietnamese-made products, we work directly with the suppliers, access production facilities, and sample goods to ensure quality. We aim to maintain an inventory of over 90% Vietnamese products, and in 2025, we will strive to further increase this percentage with the best quality.
Alongside policy development for logistics and warehousing to reduce costs, we are targeting an 80 to 90% share of Vietnamese-made products in modern distribution channels and 60 to 70% in traditional channels such as markets and grocery stores.
By year-end, the campaign Vietnamese People Prioritize Vietnamese Goods aims for full consumer and business awareness. Vietnamese products are expected to exceed 90% market share in traditional rural and remote distribution channels, while efforts to expand into new markets will drive production growth.
And before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate for today, March 24th. Coming up next on VTV News. Vietnamese doctors save comatose mom and unborn baby in a medical miracle. And Vietnamese music festival captivates global audience. Many forest areas in the northern and southern region of Vietnam remain at a high risk of fires as prolonged sunny weather and low humidity have dried out vegetation, making it highly flammable. According to the Department of Forestry and Forest Protection, there are currently 27 forest areas at level 5 fire risk, classified as extremely dangerous, mainly in Bình Phước, Tây Ninh, Đồng Nai, Kiên Giang, Sóc Trăng, and Cà Mau. Additionally, 119 forest areas across the regions are at level 4 fire risk, considered dangerous. The forecast predicts that the dry and sunny conditions will persist for at least the next 3 to 5 days. And authorities advise residents to refrain from using fire in or near forested areas, avoid clearing vegetation by burning, slash and burn farming, or honey harvesting during this period. Vietnam is one of the 30 countries with the highest burden of tuberculosis or TB and multi-drug-resistant tuberculosis globally. More than 113,000 cases were detected nationwide last year, according to data released at World Tuberculosis Day celebrations on March 24th at the Central Lung Hospital in Hanoi. While TB treatment is now covered by health insurance and resources have been allocated for screening in many localities, significant challenges remain. Multi-drug-resistant TB is on the rise and the disease remains latent in communities. With aid sources gradually diminishing, reaching the goal of eliminating TB by 2035 has become more challenging. And to address these issues, localities must strengthen primary healthcare's role in TB screening and detection, integrate TB screening information into electronic health records, and work to reduce stigma and discrimination against TB patients. Doctors from Vietnam's Việt Đức University Hospital and Đức Giang General Hospital recently achieved an extraordinary feat, saving the life of a 26-week pregnant mother with severe brain trauma. The mother lay in a coma for 70 days, while her baby continued growing in her womb for an additional 10 weeks. Both emerged victorious, the baby born healthy and strong, and the mother experiencing what could be called a rebirth.
After 70 days in a coma, the young mother's first instinct was to breastfeed her baby. Despite being bedridden for over 2 months, miraculously, her breasts were still producing milk.
Seeing my grandchild born, healthy and strong, and seeing my daughter-in-law also healthy again, I shed tears of joy.
The patient had suffered a traumatic brain injury. After brain surgery at Viet Duc University Hospital, she was transferred to Duc Giang General Hospital for continued care. Despite being in a deep coma, doctors spoke to her daily about the little life growing inside her.
We worked to stimulate the brain, encouraging it to regain control. We had to keep her stable past 26 weeks to safely deliver the baby. It was challenging to save the mother. We also had to use medication that wouldn't affect the baby.
Along with the doctor's dedication, it seemed that the unborn child could sense the mother's will to live. The baby remained calm in the womb and was born healthy at 36 weeks.
After the C-section, the mother's spirit improved significantly. Besides medical care, emotional support was crucial.
In the last week, her awareness returned significantly. There were moments when the mother teared up, overwhelmed with love for her child.
From today onward, mother and child will journey forward together. Though tiny, this baby will become her mother's greatest source of strength.
2 ancient boats have recently been discovered in Thuận Thành Commune, Bắc Ninh Province. The Provincial Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism is coordinating their excavation. And according to experts, these vessels may have been cargo boats that once traveled the Dâu River. The boats are joined together with a robust structure capable of withstanding both force and water. And the discovery was made near the Luy Lo Citadel and Dâu Pagoda, an ancient Buddhist center. Bắc Ninh Province has directed relevant departments to thoroughly assess the relic's value and age, and they are also tasked with securing the excavation site and encouraging public participation in heritage preservation. March 24th marks the complete liberation of the Central Highlands, and during the Central Highlands campaign, Vietnamese forces successfully defeated their opponents on this strategic battleground. Following the opening battle in mid-March 1975, enemy forces in northern Tây Nguyên retreated toward the lowlands along Route 7, now National Route 25. And the final clashes in the central region took place at the Sông Bờ Bridge and Lệ Bắc Bridge. 50 years later, the memories of this battle remain vivid in the minds of those who fought in it.
At over 80 years old, Sor Chu still vividly remembers those historic days of March 1975.
When we heard that enemy was retreating, our unit was ordered to surround them. It was already noon when we arrived. Many of their tanks were destroyed here, especially near the Ia Sao area up ahead.
On the 17th and 18th, we blocked the enemy's 2nd Corps along Route 7. At that time, it was a withdrawal, not a retreat. On the 17th, they withdrew and couldn't advance further. On the 18th, they started fleeing.
The victory in the Central Highlands opened a crucial strategic path to the success of the 1975 Spring General Offensive, which led to Vietnam's reunification on April 30th, 1975.
The victory in the Central Highlands campaign opened up a new opportunity for the complete liberation of the South. The people and military forces of Gia Lai made significant contributions to this victory.
50 years after its liberation, the Central Highlands has transformed into a completely new region. From bustling cities to remote villages, local people's lives have changed dramatically. The party and government have given special attention to this area, and the region's prosperity stands as a testament to the trust that has grown and flourished over the years.
A free Vietnamese language class for children of the Vietnamese community opened last weekend in New York City. The class is jointly organized by the Permanent Mission of Vietnam to the United Nations and the Vietnamese Language Program at Columbia University. Students aged 6 to 14, most of whom were born in the United States to at least one foreign parent, attended their first class with spelling and pronunciation exercises, alongside group activities led by volunteer instructors from Columbia University. In addition to this Vietnamese language program, the spouses of the permanent mission of Vietnam to the United Nations continue to organize regular Vietnamese language and cultural classes for children of Vietnamese diplomats in New York. This past weekend, the concert series of the Vietnamese hit show Call Me By Fire took place in Ho Chi Minh City. And the event captivated not only local audiences, but also drew international attention as overseas Vietnamese flew home to attend. The festival served as more than just musical entertainment. It became a platform for connecting and showcasing Vietnamese cultural values on a global scale.
Yeji, a South Korean content creator, has produced numerous video posts covering the performances at the Call Me By Fire concert. Having become an ardent fan of the show and its performers, she traveled to Vietnam to experience the live performances firsthand.
I was very amazed by the director, how he made the stages look so professional. So amazed by the choreography, the art of the clothing, the details. I mean, it's a masterpiece.
Music has become a powerful bond, connecting Vietnamese people abroad to their homeland. More than 300 fans from 25 countries journeyed back to Vietnam to experience the country's cultural values showcased at the concert.
The program is not just an entertainment show. For someone like me, who lives far from home, it helps us understand the deeper cultural and traditional values embedded in the performances of the talented artists and the team.
I was drawn to the traditional values of the show. For those of us living abroad, it's a way to feel closer to home, to witness how Vietnam is changing, and to showcase our culture to the world. That's why I came to the concert.
Thanks to its innovative musical performances, rich cultural elements, and strong fan support, this music festival has garnered coverage from more than 500 international news outlets.
So impressed, and I'm also thinking, well done fans, and well done artists for introducing the traditional music into the 21st century.
The overwhelming support from fans both within and outside Vietnam demonstrates the growing appeal of local music events and creates new opportunities for Vietnam's entertainment industry.
Coming up next in our world news. U.S.-Ukraine negotiations yield positive results. And Iran sets conditions for nuclear talks with the U.S. Now moving on to our world news, negotiations between the U.S. and Ukraine in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia were productive and focused, according to Ukrainian Defense Minister Rustem Umerov. And speaking after the talks, Umerov stated that both sides addressed key issues, including energy, while reaffirming Ukraine's commitment to achieving both immediate and long-term peace. Meanwhile, U.S. Special Envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, expressed optimism regarding the negotiations in Saudi Arabia over the Ukraine conflict. Iran has ruled out direct negotiations with the U.S. under the current maximum pressure policy and dismissed the possibility of reviving the 2015 nuclear deal. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi stated that storing the agreement in its original form is not feasible. He also reiterated that Iran's nuclear activities are strictly for peaceful purposes only, and that indirect talks with the U.S. remain Tehran's preferred approach. UK Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves confirmed plans to cut the government's operational costs by 15%, saving $2.6 billion annually by 2029. Reeve stated that the cuts would impact areas such as human resources, policy consulting, communications, and office management. She emphasized that technological advancements and artificial intelligence make the 15% reduction achievable. The savings will be redirected to priority sectors, including the National Health Service. China's fiscal policy for 2025 will focus on stimulating domestic consumption, expanding effective investment, and fostering high-quality productivity growth to sustain economic expansion. This was the key message delivered at the China Development Forum 2025.
Chinese Finance Minister Lan Fouan emphasized that in order to drive stronger consumer demand, China will issue ultra-long-term special treasury bonds worth $41 billion this year to support trade-in programs and directly reduce consumer purchase costs.
Local governments will be granted greater autonomy with $606.7 billion in local government bonds to be issued. At the same time, efforts will be made to encourage private investment and stimulate a broader range of social investments to maintain economic growth.
Additionally, China plans to boost consumption by increasing pensions, providing medical subsidies, and adjusting financial policies. Subsidized interest rates will also be offered for personal consumer loans and business loans in relevant sectors. China will further deepen the integration of scientific and technological innovation with industrial development, ramp up financial investment in science and technology, and support breakthroughs in core technologies across key industries.
And as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.